What's the dumbest thing you've ever done because your brain was on autopilot? I printed out an essay and then threw it right into the trash. Couple times a year I'll say love you to a business colleague when ending a phone call. My wife gets a kick out of that. I started clapping for myself after my speech in front of an audience because the audience started clapping. Locked my vehicle and tossed the keys inside before shutting the door. I dumped my soda into my food at a restaurant. Once I was sick and not thinking too well. A package delivery person rang the doorbell. Me, not thinking, got up from the couch, walked up to the door, and knocked on it. Then I opened the door to a mildly confused delivery man and took the package. It wasn't until I had closed the door, box in hand, that I realized my error. I drove to work one morning, promptly forgot, and then took the bus home, leaving my car in the parking lot. Came home with a friend. Started undressing as soon as I closed the door. Just recently I was talking to my friend and got on a topic about something that I had been looking up on my phone. Started to search for my phone so I could send him the link. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was talking to him while walking from room to room looking everywhere, checking my pants pockets, looking in the weird random places I've left it before. Eventually I told him I'd send it to him when I found my phone. He reminded me that I was talking to him on my phone. Recently I was trying to microwave some popcorn and instead of putting the popcorn packet in the microwave I put in the plastic wrap and proceeded to press start. I did not realize what I had done wrong until I looked down at the popcorn packet and thought something's not right here. 2 and 2 got put together before anything nasty or disastrous happened, thankfully. My nephew has one of those big iPads and takes notes with a stylus. If you tap the stylus, it undoes the last writing. Now when he makes a mistake in pencil, he taps the pencil. Drove towards my job when my friend asked me to hang out. Not me but my husband called me from work BC he forgot to put a shirt on before leaving and could I bring him one, please? There he was, just wearing a jacket. Evidently he tossed it on to go start the car in the cold and never took it off. Eater, runner up goes to the time my daughter went to school and forgot to put on underwear in 2nd grade. Yeah, of course she was wearing a skirt. We live 30 minutes from school and she realized it just as we pulled into the parking lot and I marched her into the nurse who grabbed out an emergency stash of granny briefs labeled with the school's name on them in big black Sharpie. She's 18 now and still mortified when we bring it up. I use nail polish remover instead of mouthwash after brushing my teeth. It was awful. Scanned a customer's groceries, removed the dividing bar from my register, began scanning the next customer's groceries. Used my phone flashlight to find my phone. Edit. Thank you for the gold kind stranger. Now to figure out what to spend it on. I met my district manager for the first time and was very nervous about it. His name is Craig. My name is not Craig. He introduced himself as Craig and I said hello Craig, I'm also Craig. I was wearing my name tag at the time as well. I got up and took my 3 nighttime meds, 2 sleeping pills and a rather sedating neuromed instead of my morning meds. I had an instant where I thought maybe I could go to work. But then wisdom prevailed and I called in sick. I had made a tea with ginger chunks but found the ginger to be too strong and I wanted them to go. So I grabbed a strainer and proceeded to pour out my tea in the sink with the ginger chunks in the strainer. Took me a second to realize what I've done. I wanted to refill my cup with more water, so I just poured my already half-filled cup out on the table to make room for more water. Put my glasses in the refrigerator. I figured it out when I realized the orange juice was on my bathroom counter. I was playing a very intense video game match and during the break period my mom opened my door and since the door was behind me, I was just gonna turn around and ask her what she needed. I turned me character in the game around a full 180 and had no idea why I couldn't see my mom. Tried to zoom in while reading a book or just tabbing on the page to keep it from locking. Got home from work after a long difficult shift at work. Usual routine was shoes off at the door, go pee, throw socks into the laundry hamper, wash hands, get started on making dinner. Had a brain for that day after work, managed to get my shoes off at the door, took my socks off and threw them in the toilet, washed my hands, started making dinner. I didn't realize what I'd done until I was halfway through eating and suddenly felt like my bladder was gonna explode. Found my socks in the toilet bowl and felt like the world's biggest idiot. Early morning on my way to work. Turned into my high school and parked in the student parking lot and started to get out of the car. I was 32. I went up the barista at Starbucks and said, "Pack of Marlboro Lights." At the end of work changed out of my work clothes, put them in the laundry, and proceeded to put on my next pair of work clothes. My regular clothes were right in front of me the whole time. Went to the washroom at work, was using the urinal, when I suddenly realized that I don't normally see myself in the mirror while peeing. Suddenly realized I was pissing in the sink. You guys ever drink from a straw, then zone out, and tilt it, like you're drinking straight from the cup, and put whatever you're drinking all over yourself? Put the coffee where the water should go, then put water in the pot itself, and turn the machine on. Pro tip, you can't really smell burnt coffee. Another time I woke up staring at my front door, from the outside, in my boxers, at 7 in the morning, without the key. Still don't have a clear picture on what happened, and how. I was living alone as well, can't blame but my own stupidity for this one. Saying Merry Christmas, when my sister sneezed. Squirted Gorilla Glue up my nose thinking it was nasal spray. Middle of the night, it was dark, the bottles are the same shape and size. It was not pleasant. I used to work a 6 AM shift. I'm not a morning person. Spent 3 years at that job and never became one, but 2 times stand out to me. One time my alarm goes off, I roll out of bed, get dressed, ready for work. It's winter so it's pitch black out still. Get out to the car, turn it on. Notice the stereo says 3 something am. It hadn't been my alarm, my phone wasn't on silent for once, and it gotten the wrong number call. The other time, I'm driving to work, absent-mindedly pat my pocket, and don't feel anything, panic and realize I'd forgotten my keys. So I hang a U-turn, pull back into the apartment parking lot, turn off the car, get back to my front door, and as I'm about to unlock my front door, I realized the reason my keys weren't in my pocket was because I was driving, and they were in the ignition. Trying to put the house phone in the refrigerator after hanging up. I dropped a spoon, then apologized to the spoon for dropping it. When I arrived for my exams I unzipped my coat to see that I still have my night clothes on. Edit. If it adds to the explanation I didn't get enough sleep before the day of the exam, and I was fasting. Edit again. Fasting was mentioned to avoid suggestions of staying awake for the morning. Put the empty Amazon Prime box on the counter and the knife I used to open it in the recycle bin. I do this weekly. Edit. Another thing I do is very similar, which is putting the dirty spoon in the trash and the empty pudding cup in the sink. I take my pants off as soon as I get home from work. My husband had his friend over, and as soon as I walked in I started talking and took my pants off without thinking right in front of the friend. I only realized something was wrong when the friend looked at me and quickly turned away. Once tried to start my car with my phone charger. I'm a Kiwi living in the US. I just recently moved, and I still haven't gotten used to what side of the car the steering wheel is on. It's on the right in New Zealand. When I'm distracted or stressed, I'll go to my car, drop my bags in the back seat, then get in the passenger seat and buckle my seatbelt. It's only when I can't find the wheel that I have my goddammit moment. I always feel super self-conscious afterwards thinking that someone might have seen me. I stay in the car for a bit until I feel like the people aren't nearby anymore. I then swap sides and drive away 5 minutes after I got to my car. About an hour ago I sat at a stop sign for 2 minutes waiting for it to turn green. Thank God nobody was behind me. Busboy for a local restaurant here. consistently attempt to throw silverware in the trash can and trash in the silverware bin. Luckily we have a magnetic trash can lid that has saved plenty of forks, knives, and probably my job. I work at a fast food place where most of our food is served in bowls. Often if I'm not paying total attention I'll nearly dump an entire dish into a bag without putting a lid on first. It's hilarious until you have a cheap paper bag full of mac and cheese and bottom breaks out, covering the counter and floor with cheese and noodles. Carrying chocolate milk and my phone to the living room. Throw my phone on the couch. Except it wasn't my phone. I work in sales. One day I was speaking with a customer, face to face, while holding a stapler in my hands. I was kind of fiddling around with the stapler while talking, then for some stupid reason I stuck my finger in the stapler and punctured it with a staple. I tried to hide what I just done and tried so hard not to react to it. I was filling out a form, on paper and with a pen. I needed an account number. I went online, logged into my account, located my account number, highlighted it and hit CNTRLC. Then I looked down at the paper. As luck would have it, there was no CNTRLV on the piece of paper. Strained pasta. On the floor. Boiling hot water landed on my feet. I went on a road trip and lost my laptop, but didn't know how I'd own it. I remembered carrying it to the car. I never used it at my destination, and yet it wasn't with me or at home. It was odd. I could picture carrying the laptop, but couldn't picture it in the car. I filed a list item report with police, checked warranties, even shopped around for a new one. Then one night I stumbled upon a Craigslist lost and found page and saw my laptop had been found. It was cracked across the screen and dented in a corner. When I left for the trip, autopilot me evidently, and literally never do this with any item, ever. Placed the laptop on top of the car, got in the car, and drove away, dropping it on the street, to be incredibly luckily retrieved, before being driven over. I was reunited with it about 2 weeks, after having lost it. I was driving through Yosemite with my GF and her sister. We had stopped to look at some landscape with my GF standing at my right for a few minimums. At some point, my GF and her sister went to the car to rummage through clothes and came back while I was zoning out on the scenery. For about 35 seconds I had put my hand on my GF's ass, telling her we should head to a hotel early for, things. It was not my girlfriend's ass, it was her sister's. They had swapped hats while putting on hoodies and I didn't notice the difference in my peripheral vision. Luckily they both thought it was hilarious while I turned beet red. GF had been standing behind me watching this whole exchange. TBF, they looked very similar if you weren't looking at their faces or listening to their voices. Not me, but my stepdad took his 2 kids to work instead of school because he forgot they were in the car. I work overnight, so I'm always a little loopy, but I've had some good ones lately. A little while ago I held the door open for someone else behind me, forgetting that I was walking into a 1-person restroom. There was another time I was in the bathroom, and when someone knocked, my response was come in. Thankfully, the person did not. 2 days ago I was emptying my dishwasher and dropped a Sentoku knife. I instinctively reached out to catch the knife as it was falling. Luckily, right as I wrapped my bare hand around the knife, my brain remembered knife equals sharp, and I let go before cutting myself. Later that day I went to dump out the water in my glass and started to pour it into my trash can. Sleep deprivation is a hell of a drug, kids. Pour Dodge into my coffee instead of cream. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching.